Welcome to Planet Crafter, the game where you are abandoned on a desolate planet for breaking the law. Your mission, whether you accept it or not, is to terraform the planet. Take it from this desolate, hostile environment, a Mars-like environment not fit for human life, and see if you can make it livable. Go from this to this. Let's see if we can do this in 100 days. And my name is Vox, and welcome to the run. As we land on the planet, we are basically in a small shuttle. We've got a box, we've got a couple of things in the box, we've got some food, we've got a plant of some sorts, and we've got a mission. Welcome to your assigned planet. As I mentioned, your mission is to make the world livable. On the top right hand side you can see terraformation index. It in essence works like space saving, like your storage, gigabytes, terabytes, kilobytes, stuff like that. In this case it's just terraformation index. So I start the day off with harvesting a couple of resources, get some water and oxygen, two things that you need in essence to be livable in this case, and I go on my venture to start crafting things I require. This day and most days in the future is spent collecting resources, basically silicon, iron, the basics required to make anything cool. So let's see, we're looking to make a backpack and we need some iron. We're getting some iron, we got some silicon there, we got some silicon, some magnesium, and we head back before we die to a lack of oxygen. So let's build it. Backpack built, put it in the slot. Oxygen, we require 2 cobalts and a couple of iron and magnesium. We've got oxygen, that means we won't die as quick. But of course this is a hostile planet with 0 oxygen index currently, which means if you take your helmet off, you're basically like a fish out of water, jumping around and dying. So back at it, collecting some resources and more resources and more resources. It is quite satisfying doing that, playing with the resources. So as on my adventure, we of course need to build some stuff. So you'll see me do this a lot, build a random door where I can't get into because I'm going to now die due to my oxygen running out. You'll see oxygen meter on the bottom left. As soon as you go into one of these small buildings, you will get some oxygen. Let's deconstruct that building and find ourselves a good place to set up base. Nice and open fields, I like this. Well, open dust in this case. We've got our first compartment with a door, building a couple of compartments after that. Beautiful. Now we need to build some power. We need to build some wind turbines. For wind turbines it's nice and easy, we just need some iron. So go out, collect some iron and build some wind turbines. Head back to the base, almost die of oxygen basically, and realize, oh, I've got an oxygen slot on me. Use the oxygen slot and go back to the small capsule in essence and just go and collect a bunch of stuff. Building our first box to put all our resources in, at least in this case a bunch of food. That is the one thing you do need to eventually build, is food. Now we came back to the end of day 1. So at the end of day 1 we in essence just collected a couple of resources and built our first base. With that I almost die with running out of oxygen, which happens a lot, and yes, the anxiety you think you'll feel is actually real. We expand the base a little further, build a couple of more single block bases. For some of the reason I couldn't build there, and we are having an event. Looks like a solar flare. Not scared at all, I promise. On day 2 we're back to resource gathering, which was mostly resource gathering. Magnesium, getting some ice. We unlocked the screen, so we built a couple of screens, some things we can unlock, so that's cool. We in essence are working our way through the first steps, what they call it. On our next adventure we're building a small box outside. This is in essence just our oxygen generator where we can gather some oxygen, and we are going iridium ore farming. You need iridium ore to build any of the heat producers in essence. As you'll notice, I just unlocked backpack 2, which means I can carry more crap around with me. And our terraformation index is going up nicely on the top right there. We're just over 400 now. For this adventure, we're collecting some iridium and some aluminium, and that was basically day 2 in a nutshell. Just collecting resources and not much more. Day 3 starts off more or less the same. We're collecting some resources, and we are looking to build the heater. Oh look, a box. And oh look, I'm almost dying of thirst. Not too much, some food, some basic resources, all in all something special. Getting up and building some heat, and unfortunately I'm one of those people that takes my time to build stuff because it has to be precise. Yes, I know, one of those. It takes time and pedantic, but we've got our 5 heat thingies. Now to build some more power that is not a wind farm. So we need to build the tier 1 solar panels. Tier 1 solar panels are excellent for the power in the early game. It is, I think, 4 or 5 times better than your normal wind turbine, which is excellent. And look at that. We've got our first one, our second one, our third one, our fourth one, and no, I'm lying, just our third one. Going back, our terraformation index is over 1,000 now, which is beautiful. But oh, we're just getting some light in our lives. So of course, in the start you have no compass, you have no directional things, you don't know where you're going. So putting out a light is nice if in the evening, which aren't that long, you can come back. Just checking on what I need to do to unlock the next items in my list. There's a couple of things we can unlock. The tier 2 drills, things like that. We're collecting some more resources. There's a couple of boxes scattered around in the area. And the later you get into the game, the more interesting stuff they have in them. And when you look at that, that's a meteor shower. Not to be alarmed, meteor showers are good. It does bring a bunch of resources to your base. So aluminium, iron, things like that. And we've just unlocked VeggieTube number 2. The rest of the day is basically spent organizing and building boxes for all the different resources. You'll see me do this a lot. You need a lot of resources and boxes, and each resource needs its own box. And you run out of box, you run out of space, you use the stuff. You run out of space, you use the stuff. At the end of the day, I just decided to build myself a couple of windows just to improve the view. Nothing special about that. And that is the end of day 3. Day 4 starts out with us collecting a couple of more resources because we are looking to build the VeggieTube 2. The VeggieTubes are good because they allow you to get some more oxygen in the world. And we do some more resource harvesting. Iron, aluminium, silicon, and I am going to die, it seems. No, I'm just going to make it, that's fine. Beautiful. Let's not die. Let's continue on. And again, resource collection and sorting and management. Moving, collecting, sorting, moving, collecting, sorting. Fun times. Back to some resource collection, because in the start of the game, unfortunately, this is what you spend most of your time on. Building a couple of things, collecting resources, putting them down. Build a couple of things, collect resources, put them down. Not too bad, not too bad. All in all, a good time. And we go down to putting them in the boxes, all the resources. And another meteor shower. This is good, giving us good resource for the start of the day. For our early missions. Oh look, we've unlocked the living compartment of glass. That's in essence the glass ceiling you can do. Oh, the communications antenna as well. And we've unlocked the third thing, the transmission screen, so that I can receive messages. So of course we endeavor to build those things, the transmission, the antenna to actually receive those messages, and we can then read them. And this is in essence the place where they say, you have been chosen to do your sentence as an extradition to a planet where you shall make the planet livable, and you shall not contact anybody or you will die, and we will ignore that. In day 5, we basically spend the entire day going backwards and forwards inside the ship to collect all the resources in the ship. And as you can see, my torch is quite small, so the anxiety that you feel in this area is quite hard. I did get a couple of plants, which means we can expand our VeggieTube section. And this is in essence the entire day, going into the ship, collecting a couple of things, bringing it outside, saving the game because you don't want to lose your progress, going back out, saving, going back in, collect resources, go back out, chuck them down. As you'll notice, we sometimes get a couple of blue chips. Those things you can go back to your base and you can unlock new resources. This will in essence help you to be able to craft more things, more abilities that you can do, and stuff like that. So back to building VeggieTubes. We of course have to have level 2 VeggieTubes. We can't have level 1s because that's inefficient. We have a couple of plants we got from the spaceship, and that will allow us to have our oxygen index quite strong quite early in the game. And if you have a choice and if you have the opportunity, always have the best oxygen multiplier running. So I've built 4. I've got 4 plants. Let's build a 5th because we have a spare plant and we shouldn't be wasting our resources. Getting some ice, we need to build some water, some more silicon. All this is required for our next VeggieTube. Build another one, there we go, and put the plants in. Beautiful. Next we venture into the aluminium fields, which is quite a hostile environment by the looks of it, but all in all it's quite useful. Again, I slot down a box, an oxygen box in essence, and a storage box for these purposes. I find myself another box and a blue chip, which is going to be useful in the future. I go back into the box, get myself a door and get some more oxygen. We continue our looting process in the meantime, looking mostly for aluminium in this area and a couple of those blue boxes lying around, which was all in all a successful endeavor. Coming back, we're looking to build the heater level 2. We have unlocked that. That is of course the increase in levels is almost quadruples the effect in essence of the items that you're building. So for example, a heater level 1 gives you 1 heat per second, a heater level 4 gives you 4 heat per second. So sometimes it quadruples, sometimes it's 10 times stronger the better you go into the game. And that in essence brings us to the end of day 5. As you can see, our stats are increasing. Day 6 was basically a day I unlocked level 2 storage, which meant I was able to then craft level 2 storage, and I had to do the juggle effect of moving resources out of it, building a box, moving resources back in, and giving it a name. Moving resources out, back in. In essence, I was, I don't know, a womble, if you want to call it that, all about the resources and building. But as we all know, this is in essence the survival game thing. You gather resources, you build storage, you unlock better storage, and you then need to, well, change your storage. And I'm unfortunately one of those survival players where I like to have my resources quite full and then I lose interest immediately afterwards. But all in all, our adventure so far is going well. We're on day 5. Our terraformation index is over 60,000 already. Our initial objective is to get it to 175,000. That is our principal objective. But all in all in game, 175,000 is not that much. It is in essence 175 kilobytes if you want to think of it like that. As you can see currently on the scoreboard on the left, we are on our way to the blue sky. Blue sky is at that 175,000 marker in essence. And our objective on day 5 in essence, on day 6 in essence, as I mentioned, was basically just resource management, better resource storage, and of course naming the items correctly, and moving it all back and forth. Moving along, we build ourselves a couple of food processors, food growers, so we can build a couple of food resources. In this case, we're looking at squash, we've got some eggplants, mushrooms and beans. All in all, they feed you. They're also quite useful at the end for basically recipes when it comes to natural things like or organic things. We're building ourselves a couple of tier 2 solar panels here at the end of day 6. which is fantastic, quite frankly. We've got good progress. Day 7 starts out with us building a couple of drills. You would notice I'm building it quite low, as I'm thinking that's going to be useful. I'm going to live to regret that eventually. I built myself a couple of more base blocks, in essence just expanding the base for more space. And for some odd reason I thought this plane was nice and flat for everything, but some places I just couldn't build for whatever reason. I don't actually know why. But we move along. And unfortunately I forgot the back door. How the hell can I forget the back door? The day continued on with day 7 for getting some resources. We found a section where we can get some super alloys, and on this day we unlocked the nuclear reactor, which in essence is fantastically more effective than the solar or the wind. So on day 8 we decide to build ourselves the advanced crafter, which we're going to use a lot, to be honest, and we move over to where we can build a reactor. We know what we need. We need a couple of super alloys, which we received, we collected earlier. We build our first nuclear reactor, and then we continue to get some more resources. Iridium and aluminium. Useful things in the early game, of course, and that's in essence what we do. Moving along in the day, we get ourselves a small collector figurine, which is basically the pod we came down in, which is quite cool. As you will have noticed, I just built myself some rocket boots, rocket engines in essence, and this makes sure that I can move around more quickly. Look at that, I'm flying. In the back door we go, and that is the end of the day 8. Nothing special happened on that day. Day 9 comes in and we are building a bunch more plants. In essence, we are moving some plants in, moving some plants out to be more effective in our oxygen generation. And that is a golden seed. With our golden seed in place, a golden seed has 600% more efficiency, so our oxygen boosts are going quite up. And we are going towards our power section area. I thought to build the industrial area away from the main base. I just thought it looked better, you know. And we're building ourselves another plant growers in essence. The plant growers in this case is a level 3. The level 3s are a lot more effective than our level 2s. So we just moved our plants to be level 3 using the base plants, and level 2 plants in the base to use the crappier plants. The rest of the day was mostly grabbing some super alloys and then building some nuclear reactors, and then collecting some more resources and unlocking the grass spreader. The grass spreader is quite useful as it helps with oxygen and plants, which of course will help the terraformation index. Grass spreader 1, 2, 3, and look at that, Ma. I'm a sprinkler. I'm a sprinkler system. Fantastic. We've got a couple of grass spreaders down. Next in the day, we are moving towards building our first major structure, which is our rocket launcher. Of course, I have to find the best spot for it, which is close by, but not too close. It is quite large, and the rocket launcher has been built. Our pressure is increasing, our heat's increasing, our oxygen's increasing, and overall a fantastic day 9, mainly because we got the rocket launcher built. Day 10, we unlock the atmospheric water collector. We build it, and that means we don't have to worry about water really. We'll always have water there as it collects throughout the day. I'm going towards the rocket launcher. I'll come back to you soon, baby. We headed to the aluminium field just to collect a couple of more items, and would you look at that? A golden box. Always grab the golden box, people. It's always cool goodies inside. And if you unmake it, deconstruct it, you get super alloy and aluminium. I'll continue just to collect some resources and collect and organize the resources in essence, and build the table again just to make sure that we can put our rocket effigy down that we found earlier. I do like the looks of those things. We build another nuclear plant. As on our adventures, we find a uranium cave. Uranium is going to be quite useful in the future. As you would have noticed, we require the uranium for the nuclear reactors in essence, and also for the rocket boots. Going home, chucking out a couple of uranium things in its boxes, looking at the things I can unlock and their levels. Nuclear reactor 2 is going to be quite useful. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we are looking to do one of the most important things in this game, something you will do over and over and over, and every time it's quite cool. We are building rockets so that we can go into space with the rockets. And would you look at that? This is our first raining season. It's the first time it rained, which is fantastic. I do enjoy it. It looks beautiful. Our blue sky is there. Our terraformation index is over 1 million terraformation index already. We can build 3 rockets currently: a heat rocket, a pressure rocket, and a compass, a map rocket in essence. For now, we will just build the heat rocket and the pressure rocket. We require a iridium rod, 2 uraniums, and some super alloys. We've got a couple of those, which means we can immediately build the rocket. First rocket down. We need a couple of more resources to build the second rocket. What we can do is go to the super crafter, of course the advanced crafter, and build a uranium rod, a iridium rod in essence, for what we require. Rocket number 2 has been built. Now we need a couple of super alloys for the recipe, and a couple of silicon 3 and cobalt 3 as well. Ladies and gentlemen, let's take a moment to appreciate this event as we drink some water so we don't die. This event is a momentous occasion on this planet. This is the first time we are sending rockets into space, and here, as you can see, Houston, we have liftoff. Beautiful sight, isn't it? That brings us to the second rocket. We've sent up the heat rocket, and now we are sending up the pressure rocket. What a beautiful sight. I've sent up many a rocket before, and it still looks quite cool. And what the rockets do is they attract specific meteor showers. As you saw the meteor shower earlier, which was basic items. These meteor showers for the pressure and the heat brings basically down iridium and uranium cores. You get a couple of meteors that brings you the resources, 4 or 5 per meteor shower, and you get 4 or 5 ore per meteor shower. And let's just take a second to appreciate the coolness of this. Is that meteor gonna hit us? No, it's next door, but oh my goodness, look at that impact. The good news is you can get damaged, which is not necessarily good, but you can get damaged, but your structures don't get damaged. There's no damage function in this game where structures get damaged. Even if you get a direct hit with a meteor on one of your structures, it'll be fine. And you as person, your health in essence is your food meter as well. Your health meter just goes down. And if you are to die, don't die. That's not the best thing to do. It's not necessarily going to be good. But that, ladies and gents, brings us to the end of video number 1, our day 1 to 10. Thank you for joining in the adventure so far. We've made some good progress. Our terraformation index is at 1.67 mega terraformation index. And let's see if we can go further in 10 to 16. Thanks for joining.